My self-appointed duty nobody asked me to do is to cover different genres of free Steam games you don't know about. Which means in this video, even if it makes me cry, I have to force myself to play the top 5 free horror games on Steam you don't know about. Liquidators is a first-person survival horror game where you're tasked with fixing a potential radioactive fallout that will kill most of Europe if you don't fix it in time. You're able to pick from one of 3 characters before starting the game, with each character having a unique ability. If one of your characters dies, you switch to another one to try and continue your mission. The pixelated chunky graphics, set in a scary industrial atmosphere, is a really unique choice and matches up well with the radioactive setting, since you have to focus more on what you're seeing, which helps draw you into the world. The game is structured as one long mission where you have to solve environmental challenges in order to shut off all the valves. 2 rooms have you traversing through hazardous water environments, while the other 2 rooms have you dodging through radioactive masses in order to get to the valve at the end of the room. You're armed with a flashlight and a Geiger meter. The meter tells you where the radiation is coming from so you know where to take cover, as well as monitoring your health. And the flashlight... It's a pretty slow-paced game where the horror comes from its radioactive setting as opposed to monsters. It's pretty unsettling when your flashlight goes out and you have to trust what you last saw.
I can't hear you! It's too dark in here!
The game takes about an hour to beat, and there's not really another game quite like it, so if you like slower, more atmospheric games, then I recommend Liquidators. Ginkgo is a first-person horror game inspired by East Asian horror, which is something I'm completely unfamiliar with. The main gameplay mechanic is this magic sewing needle that you use to solve the environmental puzzles. The mechanic is used in a few different ways. Sometimes you'll have to sew fabric together in order to create a platform, whereas other times you'll have to connect a magic lantern to a fire pit to open a door, for example.
That was easy.
The game's story and environment are related to sewing as well. Your mom was a seamstress and you play through her workshop where you uncover items from your childhood. You piece together the story as you play, from reading your internal thoughts as you view items, and chase your ghost mom in search of answers. There is a monster in the game that chases you when he sees you, and you have to try and outrun it so you don't die. You can also temporarily stop it by sewing a line of thread in front of him. Bye-bye! It's a short game at around 25 minutes, but if you like East Asian horror set in a beautifully haunted environment, then I recommend Ginkgo. Flicker of Hope is a suspenseful environmental game where you have to stealthily navigate through environments while avoiding enemies infected by a mysterious plague. You play as a candle who is trying to escape from the cathedral while dodging various enemies. Whenever you're not at a checkpoint, your flame will slowly burn down, meaning you have to be efficient. This heightened the suspense because every time you're away from a checkpoint, you fear you'll burn yourself out if you take too long, which causes you to rush a bit.
Holy moly.
You have the ability to jump, cover your light so you're harder to spot, sprint, which causes you to run faster at the cost of burning more candle wax,
I'm fast as fuck, boy!
and use some of your wax to create a smaller candle, which you can use as a decoy.
Say hello to my little friend! Ooh.
And this game has the most pathetic attack in gaming history. I didn't even think it was an attack until I accidentally pressed the wrong button. The game gave me Little Nightmare vibes, since you're a tiny protagonist who has to stealth your way through a scary environment with big monsters trying to catch you. The game takes about 35 minutes and is a charmingly unsettling game with some unique mechanics. If you like Little Nightmares or horror stealth games, then I recommend Flicker of Hope. Medusa's Labyrinth is a first-person mythological horror game set in ancient Greece, where you have to navigate through environments without getting caught. At the beginning of the game, you find a torch and a bow. The torch is used for lighting fires and giving you light, while the bow is used, well, once, to drop down this bridge.
Wow!
I don't even know why it's in the game. As you navigate through the catacombs, you have to dodge this minotaur who searches around trying to find you. Since you can't kill it, you have to stealth your way through the environment to avoid him. This is definitely the scariest game on the list, as the sound design in this game is amazing. You'll often hear shrill screeches faintly in the background, along with a rhythmic, almost heartbeat-like thumping, and there's constantly little noises off to the side to keep you uneasy. The sound design kept me tense the entire game and led to the scariest jump scare I've ever experienced. The game's atmosphere is really realistic looking and uncomfortably dark. One major issue is that the game crashed about 6 times on me, which was pretty annoying even with the autosaves. Although short at about 30 minutes, this game is superb at what it does. I was thoroughly scared and tense the entire time, so if you're looking for just the flat-out scariest game, then I recommend Medusa's Labyrinth. We Went Back is an environmental time-looping game where you wake up all alone in an abandoned space station and have to try and figure out a way to escape. When you wake up, you don't know anything, so you're just trying to piece together clues to figure out a password on the computer which will let you leave. You do this by going around the space station looking for suspicious objects with symbols printed on them.
No. He hates bright lights.
The clues you collect are needed to solve the ending puzzle, which has you piece all of them together to create the password you need for the computer. It's simple enough, apart from the monster that tries to kill you.
One ugly motherfucker.
He doesn't hunt you though, he only shows up during certain moments, which oddly makes him even more scary and mysterious. The graphics are amazingly realistic, which obviously makes the space station that much more terrifying when you're walking through it, praying nothing happens to you. The space station will also time loop and change every time you get a clue. Sometimes it'll repeat the same room over and over, or become damaged seemingly by the monster. There's also lots of otherworldly occurrences that make no sense, which cause me to be uncomfortable the entire game. It's a very methodical thinking type of game that makes you feel smart for finding all of its clues. The game lasts about an hour but feels like a complete experience, so if you like graphically gorgeous psychological horror games, then I recommend We Went Back. Those were the top 5 free horror games on Steam you didn't know about. Hopefully at least one of those looked like something you'll check out, and if you're looking for more free Steam games you don't know about, I'll have my free Steam games playlist linked in the description down below. And let me know if you ended up getting any of these games on the list down in the comments. Thanks for watching, and don't forget to like and subscribe to keep up with this ongoing series.